Hello everybody, welcome back to another home learning lesson. Today we are going to be looking at some more Roman entertainment and we are going to be focusing on chariot racing. Now, chariot racing was a really popular activity during Roman times, so your task today is going to be to create your own Roman chariot. I'm going to switch over to a PowerPoint now where I can give you some more information and some more details about your task for today. Let's have a look then at chariot racing in some more detail. So it was actually started by the ancient Greeks and it featured in their Heroes seasonal games and their Greek Olympic games. But the Romans took it and they turned it into a more popular form of entertainment. At the beginning, it was only used for religious festivals. However, because it was becoming so popular, they used it on non-religious days too. And chariot racing involved teams of men racing around a track in a chariot pulled by horses. The chariot racing was held in a circus, and the circus was a specific arena shaped like a bullet which was perfect for the race to be completed in laps. The largest one in the Roman world was called the Circus Maximus, which meant biggest circus, and it was an enormous building, stood 4 stories in height and could seat 20,000 people. Roman chariots were a 2- or 4-wheeled cart usually pulled by horses. However, the chariots that they used in racing were just 2-wheeled and made of wood, so they were lightweight. This made the chariots perfect for manoeuvring around the track. However, because they were quite lightweight, it was little protection for the rider as they could easily topple over. The horses that were used, they were usually grouped into teams of 2 and 4. So each chariot would be pulled by 2 or 4 horses. And they were beautifully decorated. So they had lovely, gorgeous gems in their manes, lots of braids. And the winning horses became very famous. However, because chariot racing was very dangerous, they didn't live very long at all. So the racers, or known as charioteers, they were fearless drivers, and they were usually slaves who, when they had won enough of the races, they could win some money which would actually be enough for them to buy their freedom. And to protect themselves, they wore helmets, knee pads and shin pads in case of a crash. And they even carried a knife with them to cut themselves free if they got tangled up in the reins, because a lot of the riders would tie the horses' reins to their wrists or round their waist so that if they did fall out or if their chariot did crash, they would have to cut themselves free. A bit like with football teams, there were different teams that the people used to support. So they were usually grouped by colours, so red, blue, white or green. And each driver wore the colour of their team, which made it easy for the fans to cheer them on to victory. And they would also have people who would go out and find new talent to join the teams. So, your task today is to create your own Roman chariot that could be used for a chariot race. You can use whichever materials you like to create this. So let's have a look at what we need to do before creating our models. So, as you can see here, I've done a brief sketch of a design for my own chariot. So I've drawn the wheels and I've drawn the chariot. I haven't drawn the horses because I'm just going to be focusing on the chariot and the wheels today. But as you can see, I've put in some detail. I've done a bit of a design that I would like to do on my chariot and also on the wheel as well. You need to make sure the wheel is big enough to support the chariot. But we will have a think about this when we think about the different materials that we can use. You can label this with different things if you want to show which colours you're going to use as well. I've also made a list of materials. So I'm going to use some cardboard to create my chariot. I'm going to use some glue to stick the parts together. And I'm going to use a CD to make my wheels. I will show you some pictures of that afterwards. Once I've done that, I'm going to write an evaluation about how my work went. So what went well and what would be even better if I had other materials that I could use. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my wheels. So I couldn't find any blue tack, but I've got some sellotape. So I've got some CDs, which I'm going to use to make some big wheels. I've got my sellotape, and then I've got my pencil here that I'm going to put between the two to be the bar. I think it's called an axle, to hold the wheels either side so that they don't crash into each other. So the first step that I've done is I have wrapped some sellotape around the end of my pencil, because what I'm going to do is with this CD is I'm going to put the pencil in the hole like that. push the CD down so it sits just on the end like that. And that isn't going to fall off because the sellotape's a lot thicker at the end and it's going to be too thick to go in the hole. But it just lets the CD sit right where I want it, which will then help it roll when I start to put it together. Just going to add the second one on now and then I will show you what that looks like. Here we go. I've added both CDs onto my pencil now and I've put sellotape at the end to secure them. I'm just holding it still because it keeps rolling. But they are pretty secure and they're working quite well as my wheels. So now all I need to do is create my chariot. Okay, so here is my completed Roman chariot. It's not the best. It looks more like a monster truck, if I'm honest, than a chariot. But I have used the CDs here as my wheels. So I've got 2 wheels. I've got the pencil in the middle holding the wheels together, and then I just found this coffee box that I have put on, but to be honest it's probably a little bit too big. I probably should have made it a little bit smaller because the wheels are struggling with the weight of it, but this is something that I would put in my evaluation. So I think what went well about my model is the CDs have worked really well as wheels. However, the box is probably a bit too big and a bit too heavy. I should have made that smaller, and I think my model would be better if I had done that. And I don't think morning cafe is a particularly Roman type of phrase, so it would be better if I decorate this to be like a traditional Roman chariot. However, I am sure you will all do a much better job than I did. I just wanted to do a quick one to show you what a really basic model could look like. And to be honest, this took me about maybe 10 minutes in total. So if I can do it in 10 minutes, you can definitely make something far better than I have. But hopefully this will give you a good idea of what your chariot could look like. Now, as you can see here, I have very quickly covered my chariot in tinfoil paper, so it's a nice silver colour now. And what I could do is I could go round it with a pen and do some sort of Roman symbols, or even look on the internet for some Latin words and write those on there just to add a little bit more detail. But I just wanted to show you a really easy way that you could quickly cover your chariot to make it stand out a little bit more. I'm sure you've got some other great ideas that you could do, but I didn't have very many materials in my house, so I've just used some tin foil to attach to my chariot just to make it stand out a little bit more. So I hope you have loads of fun making your Roman chariots today. I'm really looking forward to seeing them. So please send some lovely pictures or videos if you manage to get yours moving into the Year 3 email address so that we can see those. Hope you all have a lovely day and I will see you soon.